प्रशांत सर स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं।
Good evening all. I am Prashant Gavte representing CGPA West Zone. Our today's session will be on show cause notices under GST litigation aspects. Last Thursday we have had a wonderful session where the speakers deliberated on latest Supreme Court and High Court judgments. Dear participants, keeping in line with the same, our today's eminent speaker will cover broadly how to read a show cause notice effectively, areas prone to litigation in respect of show cause notice, how to prepare reply to show cause notice. Before that, I would like to introduce our today's speaker, CA Nishant Mundara sir. He has been in practice since 2009 and leads the indirect tax practice at Shah Khandelwal Jain and Associates at Pune. He has executed various assignments for GST impact analysis and advisory across industry verticals. He has conducted audits of large listed companies as well as small and medium promoter driven businesses. He has worked on merger and acquisition and joint venture transaction of various sizes and alongside assisting foreign companies to establish their business in India. He also has experience of working on tax due diligence, VAT and service tax scrutiny, assessment and tax appellant matters across the business spectrum. He has also conducts career guidance and counseling session for students as a part of his duty of giving back to society. Now I would request Nishant sir to take over the session, please. Sir, please, you can start with the session.
Thank you. Thank you, Prashant, for the introduction. While this issue was discussed and we were discussing about what is the litigation aspect when we look at show cause notice, the important factor what I used to see and what we need to discuss is importantly that is SCN or a show cause notice free of litigation. I mean, frankly, whether a department can make mistakes and can lead to litigations with respect to show cause notice. Interestingly, while preparing for this session, I was going into a report of CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General, and I refer to report number 1 of 2021, where CAG reports that they have conducted an CAG audit with respect to the show cause notices and in 116 offices in India. And imagine they had verified around 4,457 cases, having a value of 29,672 crores. And the deficiencies noticed by the CAG in the demand of tax in what they have found as the count is 1,407, leading to a money value of 12,162 crore rupees. 12,162 crore rupees is the loss made due to deficiencies in show cause notice. They have referred to various reasons for show cause notice. You may, for detail, you can refer to report number 1 of 2021 issued by CAG of India. Now, when it comes to notices, what we have always seen is, whenever a notice comes to us, not to us as in the client. Am I audible? Hello?
Sir, you are audible, very much audible.
Okay. Yeah, so what happens is the client comes to us and says, you said we were right. And how? And can you explain me why this notice has come to me? Why the show cause notice has come down to me? What's the reason? And when I sat back and decided to explain him that, see, understand GST is very right. I mean, it's a 4-year-old guy who has just started to run or basically to stand and talk about things. That is where we say that, GST law is what we call as a breaking new grounds. They are actually compliance is online. Discretion is gone basically because everything is online. There's nothing as such. I mean, the litigations can be assumed if we are looking at more than 1,300 advance rulings and more than 180 advance appellate appellate authority advance rulings basically reported in the GST ones. Am I clear when I am getting messages with respect to low voice? Am I clear?
You are clear. Request all participants to please join with the headphones so you can hear the voice clearly. It's audible. And sir, if you can increase your volume, that will also
Sure.
help. Thank you.
I'll do that. I hope now I am clear and audible.
Yes, sir. Yes.
What we always, when it comes to, I was discussing about why clients come down to us and says the issue. We should always remember that, being right does not mean that you are beyond challenge. We should always remember this. Always, the society expects that, ensure that no one gets away with an unjust advantage. If you are expecting that, we are correct, does not mean that you're right. We should always understand that notices will come not because you did something wrong, but notices will come because no one knows what you have done. That's the bottom line, and that's where you should always welcome show cause notices. Litigation is a part and parcel of life. What we always see and what we always reflect is important. With litigation, people say that what litigation brings is, in a litigation, the only winner is the one who actually is the lawyer or the person who is litigating. And on a lighter note, John Mortimer says that if someone tries to steal your watch, by all means, you should fight them off. But if someone sues you for your watch, hand it over and be glad that you are got away so lightly. Yes, that's the issue with litigation. That's the bad side of, what we call as the issues with respect to litigations. Now, what is show cause notice? We always see that, what is show cause notice? Why this? Why not this? Why we are always
Hemant.
Yes. Show cause notice is based on a concept called audi alteram partem. Basically, it means let the other person be heard. It's important because if it's a part of natural justice, and that it's an important factor whenever we consider that
Nishant sir,
justice. Yes.
can you please use headphones if possible?
Is my voice still low?
The voice is okay. I think it's because I think the speaker is not picking it properly.
Okay, just a minute. Is it clear now?
Yes, I think it's clear.
Let me know if there is an issue with respect to voice.
Okay.
Yeah. So while we consider that the principle of natural justice, and we always say that, let the other person be heard. But when we always see and when we ask, is it mandatory or optional to issue show cause notice? We should always look that, in a recent judgment of Kesar Enterprises in Supreme Court, they said that if the requirement of opportunity to show cause is not read into the said rule, an action thereunder would be open to challenge under Article 14, that is equality of the Constitution of India. So basically, issue of show cause notice can be not just an a statutory right that I need a show cause notice. Probably it's a fundamental right. It's in the Constitution of India to issue and ask for a show cause notice before any adjudication or any demand or any recovery of tax. You should always remember that a show cause notice emanates from the principle of Constitution, Article 14, read with 19 and 21. But that's how things are. Is SCN a formality? Absolutely not. It's not a formality. It's much more than that. It actually is a foundation of the show. Show cause notice is the foundation of all litigations. if anything, a demand has to be ensured or asked upon by the department, the show cause notice is the base, is the foundation. They cannot go beyond show cause notice at all point of time, and that has to be remembered as such. Yes, we move forward. As I say, for statutory provisions with respect to show cause notice,
Nishant sir,
yes,
sorry to interrupt. We are getting a lot of requests. If you can please use a headphone if possible.
give me a few minutes. I'll just try.
Yeah, yeah. Participant, please wait for 2 minutes. The speaker is getting headphones. Thank you.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Is it clear? Is it clear now? Better?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Can we start?
Yes, please.
Yes. So as I said,
Just increase your volume of this thing, computer.
is it better now?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So I have given few examples of show cause notices issued under the GST Act. Show cause notice under 74, Section 76. There is a show cause notice for rejection of refund claim under.
Sir, it's not audible that much. Your voice
Still
is
not audible?
yes, it's low. The voice is
Okay.
low.
I'll increase my voice so that I'll
Yeah.
be more audible then.
Okay. Just put the speaker nearby, so I think that will
Yes.
help.
Okay. So the show cause notice under 74, show cause notice under 76, show cause notice for rejection of refund claim. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, but I think without headphone it was better.
Just a minute. Is it better now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
If
Show cause
anyone
notice.
has a issue, please just message in the message box, and you can start the video also, sir.
Yes, I'll try because I guess there is video probably. That's why I've closed it. I'll continue. Uh, there is an GST, as I said, there are show cause notices under various provisions of the Act. I have, named few 73, 74, 76, and there are, as I said, show cause notice for rejection of refund claim. Still, the voice is very low.
No, sir, it's okay. It's all right. Please
Okay.
continue.
Then we have show cause notice for cancellation of regular registration, show cause notice for cancellation of provisional registration, show cause notice for denial of option for composition. There are various provisions under which a show cause notice is issued, and that's how you should look for, the general show cause notices. We move further. I have, these are section 73. I'll just skip to avoid wastage of time because 76 is mentioned. Rule 142 is the one where actually a show cause notice is issued. We call as the DRC 01. Continued. Yes, there is a mode of service is also mentioned where any decision, order, summons, notice, or other communication in this act or the rules made shall be served. There is a way in which a notice shall be served to the assessee, and that's how you should remember. You should read these provisions and then act upon. Now we come back to the principles. What are the established principles? Because whenever it comes to show cause notice, you should know what are your rights. You should know what is expected from the show cause notice and what needs to be acted upon and what need not be acted upon. Yes. The first principle is the what we call as the jurisdiction of the officer. Say, for example, you have received a show cause notice. The show cause notice is issued, and say for example under section 73, 74. Now you need to remember that the first thing you should look upon is whether there is a proper officer. It is important to know that a proper officer is a person who actually is the person who is authorized to issue a notice to you. We have circular number 3/3 dated 5th July 2017, which gives the details of the proper officer. Yes, there is a proper officer. We have, if the proper officer does not issue the notices to you, then whether the show cause notice is correct, I believe it is not correct, because the law allows that a proper officer only can serve you notice. No other person than a proper officer can serve you notice. You have Justice Bobde's decision in case of Canon India, where a proper officer has been debated, and the Supreme Court said that no person other than a proper officer as defined under the Act can issue notice. Then we come back to the second part, what we call as the monetary jurisdiction. See, again, with respect to proper officers also, there are monetary limits issued. There is a circular number 31/5 2018 dated 9 February, which actually provides you with the details of monetary limits issued with respect to certain specified offices. We need to remember that, say for example, show cause notice was supposed to be issued by an additional assistant commissioner. What happens if, for example, a superintendent issued a show cause notice? Will that work? Yeah, you can drop messages or your replies in the chat box. Do you believe that a proper officer with a not so correct monetary limits issues a show cause notice to you and say that yes, the notice is bad in law or the notice is correct? People believe that such notices are bad in law, considering the monetary limits are set by the officers and the board, and if something is done against it, basically the show cause notice is bad in law to that extent. But I have to say that there are few judgments in Supreme Court where actually, say for example, Pava Chemicals Private Limited versus CCE 2005, and Aeon Constructions Private Limited Products Limited versus CCE 2005. What happened in these judgments is the Supreme Court was no. The arguments before the same was that proper officer without a monetary limit has issued show cause notice and it's bad in law. The court said that no, these are the administrative directions issued by the office or by the board. And the administrative directions should be followed by the officers as a matter of propriety. But if an officer still issues a notice or adjudicates contrary to the circulars, it would not be a ground for holding that he had no jurisdiction to issue the show cause notice or to set aside the adjudication. These are important judgments. These are Supreme Court judgments. You have to be very clear that whether these are challengeable grounds, whether I can challenge on such grounds to say that it is bad in law and continue with the litigation. Frankly, I believe yes, you can challenge, because if a board has decided that certain powers are granted to certain individuals of certain rank, probably they should follow it. But Supreme Court has decided otherwise. But I suggest to all the members that they should at least put a point in their show cause notice reply to say that if the monetary limits of the proper officer is bad in law, you should argue to that extent to say that yes, it is bad in law. Probably the Supreme Court, if you don't put any such litigations or grounds in your submissions, you may not make it to the. And if tomorrow Supreme Court decides in GST law at least that Pava Chemicals or Aeon Constructions needs to be revisited and probably monetary jurisdiction is to be considered, probably you would lose the case despite having that as a ground. Then we have what we call as the jurisdictional fact of provision. Yes, jurisdictional fact of provision is whether correct provision is applied. Say for example, you were supposed to be registered, and you were filing returns, and probably you were issued a show cause notice under 61 saying that 62 saying that you are being assessed for as a best judge assessment since absence of returns, or you are saying that you are assessed as an unregistered person. These are not correct provisions, and if such provisions are applied in show cause notice, they are bad in law. What if, say for example, a 74 provision was, a notice was issued under section 74, and wrongly, incorrectly, section 73 was printed instead of section 74? Do you think that the notice is bad in law? You can answer in chat box. Yes, some of you feel that incorrect provisions, reference to incorrect provisions, or basically they are bad in law. Believe me, these judgments, if I have to, because if I have to refer to few judgments when they say that rectifiable, whether such mistakes are actually a mistake or probably they are actually a proceeding which has gone wrong, have to establish the fact that all the provisions, all the actions were with respect to a wrong provision itself. Say for example, as I said, a 74 provision, the entire discussion, the entire show cause notice reflected that penalty provisions, the willful misstatement was covered, and incorrectly the section 73 was referred. Supreme Court, in the case of NB Sanjana, you have PK Palaniswamy in Ram Sundar Ram, said that mere mention of a wrong provision of law when a power was exercised, was available under a different provision itself, is not sufficient to invalidate exercise of that power. So these are rectifiable mistakes. These are rectifiable mistakes. You should be aware that whether these mistakes are rectifiable mistakes or probably a wrong provision itself was mentioned. If there are incorrect provisions mentioned, probably you have to argue that these are non-rectifiable, and you should argue that probably there is no correction can be made, and accordingly it is a bad in law. Else these are problematic situations. You cannot argue, or probably the argument is not so strong when it comes to referring to incorrect provisions, where the body and the other part of the show cause notice itself reflects that the intended provision is clear. We have seen that show cause notices have corrigendum or addendum issued to show cause notice. We should always remember that if that what we call as, if a corrigendum is issued, whether it is correct, yes, they have powers to issue corrigendum or addendum to this show cause notice. But if, say for example, amount was not mentioned in the original show cause notice, but a corrigendum was issued, say for example, after 2 years, so whether I can argue that corrigendum issued is bad in law? There are precedents, judicial precedents with respect to that also. CCE versus Kasturi Foods and Chemicals Limited, the Supreme Court held that if earlier notice did not indicate any amount and the same is demanded by another notice, the same will be considered as a fresh notice. A fresh notice, and the timeline with respect to issuance of notice shall be considered from that date itself. So if there are principal changes made, if there is something important issued in the corrigendum, you can argue with respect to the timelines. You cannot challenge the corrigendum itself. It's important to note and identify that whether such corrigendum addendum, and act accordingly. You should also act, as I said, you can always argue with respect to timelines. If, and we have seen that corrigendum addendum has been issued after 1 year, 2 year, once they identify that the notice is done, or probably they realize the mistake after the CAG audits, but the timeline has gone. So you can always argue that the limitation notice, the timeline for issuance of a notice has been bad in law. I have a question from Parimalji stating that what if state has not issued any circular specifying monetary? Yes, we have few states where monetary, there's no circular specifying for monetary limits, and if it is issued under the specific state act, probably there is no proper officer. Every officer is a proper officer, so you may not be able to defend on that ground. Then we have people getting mails, people asking for people getting mails, WhatsApp, that please pay tax. You are asked to pay tax. Whether letter or such communication asking for payment of tax is a show cause notice, it is already decided in case of metal forgings that such letter or communication itself is not a show cause notice, it's bad in law. Whether show cause notice is an essential requirement for any demand proceedings, as I said, all what we call as show cause notice is a sine qua non for any demand proceedings under the law. In GST, we have a Syed Jafar Abbas versus Commercial Tax Officer, Gujarat High Court judgment, which actually say, in this case, Gujarat High Court has quashed the order cancelling assessee's GST registration, as it was passed without show cause notice. If, they said that it's in what we call as article, that's a violation of Article 14 of the Constitution and has to be set aside in full and a fresh notice has to be issued. Yes, whether show cause notice must be in writing. Yes, there are judgments, as I said, Tribunal Mumbai, Voltas Limited, because oral oral show cause notice has no value. Show cause notice has to be or must be in writing to convey what is written and what is intended to be demanded as a tax or any action. Whether the show cause notice must contain all the details? Yes. As I said, I mean, in the celebrated judgment of CC versus Brindavan Beverages Private Limited, Supreme Court said that a show cause notice is the base, foundation of all arguments made by the department against the assessee. And if it does not have all the details, it's a complete bad in law and has to be set aside in full. We have Dayamay State Enterprises versus State of Tripura in the GST regime. We have Mahadev Trading Company versus Union of India. GST show cause notice was issued, and it says, I mean, to what the Gujarat High Court read is that notice is as vague as possible and does not refer to any particular facts. Therefore, the assessee cannot be asked to reply on things which he is not even aware of. That is where the show cause notice said that, the Gujarat High Court set aside in full and said, asked for the new show cause notice to be issued. As I said, is oral show cause notice valid? No. So, National Cooperative Bank Limited versus CST audit, Karnataka High Court has stated that oral show cause notice is bad in law. There is a procedure written in the law and it cannot be turned otherwise. Can show cause notice be waived? Sometimes we say that, yes, I am agreeing to pay the tax. I may not. I orally agreed. And please don't issue me show cause notice. Can this be done? And can this be avoided? Can this be waived by both the parties? What has been heard by court in the case of Commissioner of Customs versus Virgo Steels, it says that show cause notice cannot be waived. And as I said, a part of Article 14, and it actually brings inequality to the assessee because he cannot represent. That is where you should be aware that show cause notice cannot be waived by any reason. There is also a circular number 290 issued by Central Excise dated 20th January 1997, where it's a circular stating that show cause notice should not be waived in any reasons, by any reasons, and that is where the department, I mean CBIC has specifically issued circulars to the department officers to not waive any and to issue show cause notices by any means. Whether show cause notice should be in a specific format. We have the judgment of Suresh Trading Corporation versus Assistant Commissioner Circle of SGST, where Madras High Court said that cancellation, I mean, it's a matter of cancellation of registration. They said that Madras High Court set aside the order of cancellation because it was not issued in the prescribed template, that is GST REG 17 under Rule 22(1). Because the format has been prescribed, it has to be followed to the T, and if it has been issued in a specific format, it has to be followed as such. Whether, as I said, whether notice in DRC 01 without any show cause notice is enough. We have the Jharkhand High Court judgment in case of NCAS Services Private Limited. They issued a show cause. DRC 01 is actually a summary notice of the issue, the SCN. But if a show cause notice to be provided along with DRC 01, we have seen many show cause notices coming down to the assessees saying that the DRC 01 is issued to you, please go through it and reply accordingly. If we are not aware what is actually happened or what is going to happen with things, what are we expected to reply on? If I'm not aware of the allegations, if I'm not aware what is being asked to reply for, cannot reply. That is where Encast Services Private Limited said a summary of show cause notice cannot substitute the requirement of a proper show cause notice. DRC01 has to be accompanied with a show cause notice explaining the allegations, explaining the tax, the demands, and then you can then DRC01 with the show cause notice would be a complete show cause notice under GST. Whether proper officer is required to show cause notice, as we discussed earlier also, we have a Madras High Court judgment in case of Femina Shopping Mall Private Limited. It stated that the impugn order, the order was issued, but as per the circular in the state laws, in the Madras High Court, so actually the state taxes had a circular dated 4th October 2021, stating that the show cause notice has to be issued by a proper officer. The Madras High Court took a note of it that if the notice has to be issued by a proper officer, if anyone else does it, probably that's prima facie bad in law. And the show cause notice has got a stay over there as an interim stay. Just to clarify, we have discussed this is an interim stay. Pahwa Chemicals and Aeon Constructions are important. They have to be discussed, they have to be understood, and they have to be considered while replying or preparing reply to show cause notice. Timeline to issue show cause notice. Yes. Can anyone tell me what is the timeline prescribed under the GST law to reply show cause notices? Believe me, there is no timeline prescribed under the GST law for a show cause notice. You should be aware of such things. A standard 30-day limit is being prescribed as a customary, but there is no such time limit prescribed. If there is a shortage of, if the timeline is very short and has been asked to reply and such orders are passed without any opportunity of hearing or otherwise, you should be aware that they already have a judgment in GST again by Madras High Court in the case of Balaji Traders versus the state tax officer. Again, what they did is without any prior intimation, knowledge, the matter was preponed. The hearing was preponed, and then they were denied that yes, you need to reply, and the case was closed. That is where they said that timeline to issue show cause notice cannot be shortened, provided, and if such timeline has been shortened, then it is bad in law to that extent. Similarly, whether a show cause notice can waive personal hearing, as I said, in Shiv Kishore Construction Private Limited, they said that if a show cause notice, if issued and does not ask for any reply or any personal hearing, that itself is bad in law. Whether a show cause notice can be based on assumptions and presumptions, we always see that people, have show cause notices saying that if this happens generally in case of clandestine purchase, that is where people say that you have purchased this much, accordingly this much has been. This cannot be based on assumptions and presumptions. Have to be not based on assumptions. They have to be backed by more substantial evidence rather than assumptions and presumptions. This has also been confirmed in the case of Audh Sugars Mills Limited versus Union of India, 1978 Supreme. Yes. should show cause notice indicate the amount demanded? Yes or no? How many of you believe that if a show cause notice does not provide the amount demanded, it's bad in law? Yes. Not required. Supreme Court, uh, basically, in the case of, we have divergent views on this. Hindustan, in the case of Hindustan Aluminum Corporation, Delhi High Court said that no, it would have been certainly better that if the exact amount was specified, but it cannot be said that the petitioner cannot know as to how much duty is being demanded or in what manner to calculate the duty demanded. So, bottom line is that if the amount demanded can be computed but is not specified, it may not be treated as a bad in law. However, in case of GBA printing inks, they said show cause notice must require the party to show cause of why he should not pay a certain stated amount. If the amount is not stated, the other party is not aware of what is the amount, what kind of amount he is liable to pay. He cannot enter into the minds of the officer to calculate, to identify and describe what kind of amount and how it has been calculated. It is the duty of the officer to explain and to identify and to quote exact amount and reflect it in the show cause notice. Yes, litigation aspects. As I discussed, we previously discussed the principles, what has been already discussed and what has been shared by persons all by the courts to say that yes, this is correct and this is not. Now we come to litigation to say that what is there in the show. We have a master circular issued by CBIC dated 10th March 17 on structure of a show cause notice. I always suggest that one should reflect on and read the master circular. It's a good book or good basically a circular to read by issued by CBI. It explains how show cause notice has to be written or issued. Where they say that you have to introduce the case. There is a legal framework to explain what has been done. Then we have to explain the factual statement. Then evidences. Then you have a discussion facts and legal framework. Then discussion on limitation, calculation of duty and other amounts due. Then we have a statement of charges and authority to adjudicate. This should be the structure of a show cause notice. What should be expected or what should be a part of a show cause. Then as you all know, yes, there are time limits to issue show cause notice. I believe everyone is aware of the time limits. If I have to quote, it's basically 3 years for section 73 and basically 6 yes 6 years for the 4 years 4 years for section 74. Then we have for 1718, as we discussed, the show cause notice can be issued by 5th November. As we all are aware, the due date of the annual return was 5th February 2020 for 1718 for certain areas and 7th February 2020 for certain areas. So accordingly, the due date or the last date for issuance of show cause notice is 5th November 2022 and 7th November 2022 accordingly. Then we have for 1819, the due date was 31st December 2020. Accordingly, the last date to issue show cause notice is 30th September 23. For 1920, we have the due date as 31st March 2021. And accordingly, the last date to show cause notice is basically 21st December 2023. These are the perils of issuance. If we demand extension of GST audits, we should always remember the normal period of limitation and extended period of limitation gets increased accordingly. So that the what we see as always as an upside to do, ask for extension of audit and get things done at a later date could cause an issue when it comes to issue of show cause notice. They can extend the period, and imagine 2000, we can get for a 1718, you can expect a show cause notice being issued on 5th August 2024. After 6 years almost, you can get a show cause notice to explain what has been done into 1718 and what went wrong. Yes. Then we have, the department generally do issues and explain things on, say, merits. As I said, merits in terms of various grounds. Then we have limitation. They always put grounds with respect to limitation. They put grounds with respect to computation, recovery of interest, and penal action. For example, what we have generally seen, the expected grounds for demand of tax or recovery of refund. It's generally, these are general reasons for issuance of show cause notice. What we've seen, there's an aggregate turnover threshold exemption. We have related persons, valuation issue. We have distinct persons, cross charge being demanded. We have clandestine supplies. We have discrepancies in stock of finished goods and raw material. We have issues with respect to wrong availment of ITC. We have transitional credit issues. We have no show cause notice with respect to 17.5, proportionate reversal of ITC, section 16 compliances. If I have to go into ITC, we can look at eligibility conditions to ITC. We have supply in installments or 180-day payment issue. We have a time limit under section 16.17.4. The business purpose test, that is, if the supplies are not used exclusively for business, then a credit disallowances. Apportionment in case of exempt and taxable supplies. Computation of exempted supplies. We have blocked credit under section 17.5. We have issues with respect to job work and ITC. And we have issues with respect to notices with respect to tax invoice and e-way bills also. Again, as I said, the evidence is a part and parcel of a show cause notice. We should be aware as to what evidences have been provided by the department against you. The evidences could be a primary evidence, such as what we call as, for example, primary evidence could be looked upon as, say, a discrepancy in the stock records. What we call as electricity consumption, the input-output ratio. These are primary evidences which can be used by the department to provide or issue a show cause. What then could be provided as a secondary evidence, that could be looked as an due sheets received on the, in the premises of the taxpayer. You can look at a private records, then an unsubstantiated evidences or third-party statements that can be considered as a secondary evidence. Remind you that secondary evidence has no value unless and until it is backed by primary evidence. We have judicial pronouncements with respect to issues such as classifications. So recently, say for example, we have a case of automobiles where Supreme Court has decided that probably the classification should be chapter 85 instead of 84 or 86. These are important factors, and based on judicial pronouncement also, the show cause notices can be advance authority rulings. It is important, but the department has been using advance ruling authorities as an evidence, not directly, but indirectly they have been providing based on we always say that AARs, basically advanced authority rulings, the issue is they are limited to the assessee and the officer, but has a what we call as a value perspective with respect to the judicial general. They can be taken as a persuasive value, and that is where people draw. I mean, the department has been drawing evidences and providing it as a part of the show cause notice. Interpretation, we all know interpretation has been an issue. We have been interpreting Income Tax Act since 1962. We have been still interpreting the Central Excise Act, Customs Act. So interpretation can be both ways, can be done by the department way or the assessee way. Third party statements are also part of evidences. Third party statements can be used and can be considered as a part of evidence. Information from different sources, yes, you all must be aware that information from say 26 AS or an ITR has been recently used to issue show cause notices under service tax regime. You have data analytics, and data analytics has been part and parcel of GST, and they have been using it rigorously to analyze and issue show cause notices, in the important being the e-way bills. Chemical test reports have been used for classifications. We have CBIC circulars stating deciding upon what is to be taxed, what is intended, what we have. I mean, in the last session, then by itself explained that CBIC circular has been explaining that the intent of the law was to tax at 18%, and it was never. I mean, such CBIC circulars are issued as taken as evidences, and circular show cause notices are issued. We have retrospective amendments are also part of being used as an evidence to issue show cause notices. Then comes, as a part of show cause notice, you should be part of computation of demand, where they refer to the quantum of turnover, what is the taxable value, what is the classification, what is the rate of tax applied, and whether exemption notification applies or does not apply to the taxpayer assessment. With respect to interest and penalty, interest being consequential to the demand, however, they generally provide justification for invocation of specified penal provisions, because to penalize you have to explain as to why such penalty is leviable and why it should be answered. Burden of proof, it's important and part of litigation to understand who is liable to answer what. Classification issue, we have been the burden of proof has been always an issue to explain that. Say for example, I did something, I have classified in say a specific 9954. Now the officer wishes to have to be saying denying that it was never to be classified under 9954. Who has to prove that the classification is incorrect? It's decided by many judgments. We have to be clear. See, what we always refer to, classification is if there is a classification and there is an what we call as, if the department wishes to tax at a higher rate than what has been paid by the assessee, it is the burden of department to prove it and not of the assessee. I mean, to quote the classification issues, the judgments of HPL Chemicals, IPCL, Mangalore Refinery can be referred. It's as easy as, no person can be asked to prove the contrary, nor a person can be assumed to know the case of the department. It has to be, it's a clear case that the department has to prove that why the correct classification of goods or services, and to prove it is the burden of the department. Same goes with valuation. The inclusion or exclusion has to be provided. I mean, exclusion cannot be done but if there has to be included and the value has to be considered, it is the burden of the department to prove. Exemption notification, the exemption notification has to be first explained as why it applies. The burden is on the assessee. Once it has been explained, it is the burden of proof of the department to prove that such exemption notification does not apply to the taxpayer assessee. Same goes with ITC. As I said, you have to prove initially that yes, you are eligible, and the burden of proof again remains with the department to say that you are not eligible to be. Same goes with refund also. Then coming to the important part as to what should be checked and what to check in show cause notice. So again, whenever it comes, whenever the client or you yourself receives a show cause notice, there are a list of things you should be aware and you should check with respect to sales. Say for example, a show cause notice is issued by a central GST. You need to check the DIN, because if there is a DIN mentioned in the show cause notice, it can be verified on the CBIC website. However, if there is no DIN mentioned, we always suggest that you can verify or discuss with the officer also, because it's important. If you are not aware of the if you are not aware of the provisions with respect to issue of DIN, there is also a the circular with respect to issuance of DIN explains that communication, if issued, can be regularized within 15 days, wherein provisions are basically the part of the circular says that any communication issued without any electronically generated DIN in the exigencies shall be regularized within 15 working days of its issuance by obtaining a post facto approval with immediate superior officer. And as regards the justification of issuing the communication without DIN, and if mandatorily and generates a DIN afterwards, after the approval, and printing the electronically generated pro forma bearing the DIN and filing it in the concerned file. There is no such communication, there is no clarity with respect to that. Such DIN should also be communicated to the taxpayer separately whenever it is generated. So for example, if 30 days, if a show cause notice has been asked, and if you have been relaxed that our finance minister has specifically stated DIN nahi hai to kachre mein dalo, but you should be aware that if it is regularized within 15 days and has been provided to you, you can still be said that the show cause notice is valid, and you should be aware that if you don't reply to such show cause notice, it is not bad. If it is communicated after 15 days, you may ask for an extension or reply, but that cannot be denied in the first place. It's important to note the date of issue of show cause notice to understand the limitation. Date of receipt of show cause notice is also important, because the time limit to reply, say for example, the customary 30 days, starts from the date of receipt of such show cause. We have to also check upon the list of relied upon documents whenever the notices are come. Generally, in cases where we see that a DGGI or a preventive, where the documents, most of the documents are collected or seized, few of the documents are relied upon in the show cause notice, you can also ask for return of the copy of the relied upon documents which are not considered the documents which are not relied in the show cause notice. The statements issued during the proceedings, the authority issuing the show cause notice, as I said, with respect to identifying whether he is a proper officer under the relevant act, whether the facts of case are correct. We have seen notices where the application is with respect to refund, and probably the rejection is done based on stating that no refund is available because there is no agreement provided. I mean, the law does not mandate it, and if it mandates, then it has to be produced before the acceptance of the show cause, before acceptance of such refund application. We have, as I said, basis of show cause notice. Basis of show cause notice, or say demand, would be say scrutiny of returns under section 61, audit done under the GST Act. We have preventive departments or DGGI departments being basis, treated as the basis on which show cause notice is issued. You should read the details where the basis of show cause notice has been held. As I said, check out the allegations or charges mentioned in the show cause notice. Important, because that determines whether where the strong points of a show cause notice can be held, can win the case based on this. We should check what is the nature of allegations made, what is the basis of such allegations. So for example, if as I said, the allegations are made on assumptions and presumptions, probably you have a strong case based on the earlier discussions made. Evidence is produced for such allegations. They could be statements, they could be third party statements, or statements of the officers of the taxpayer. Interpretation is important where they clarify what how the rule is being interpreted. Frankly, the allegations made in Maharashtra with respect to section 16(4), where they have said that a taxpayer filing return after March 19, 10th April 2019, the credit shall not be allowed, considering the newly inserted proviso to section 16(4). This is the interpretation of the department with respect to denial of credit. It's important to understand and reflect, because such interpretation has to be denied or has to be crossed when it comes to reply of show cause. We have, as I said, judgments, advance rulings. We have a technical reports being issued. Third party statements have been relied upon. As I said, circulars have been relied upon. If, say, for example, what we call as a call book entry, the departments, say for example, you win in a Bombay High Court, you win a case under Bombay High Court, and the matter went to Supreme Court for again appeal. So you need to understand that such appeal has to be followed, and the show cause notice can still be issued by the department. What we call as they issue the show cause notice to avoid the time limitation and keep it pending for hearing, considering that the issue is kept in abeyance till the department till the Supreme Court or the relevant court decides. Check out in computation about the classification, valuation, exemption, the rate of tax, and whether a cum tax principle is applied or not. Have the provisions for cum tax, where if the tax is not collected separately, probably a cum tax principle can be applied, and the reduced tax option has been provided. So also check out what kind of provisions are invoked, because when it comes to reply to show cause notice, you should be aware that you have to deny the applications of all the provisions or agreed upon provisions, where you should be whether such provisions apply, whether provisions does not apply. That is where you need to be very clear on that part when it comes to reply also to show. As I said, you should be aware of summary of it's a part of the show cause notice where they summarize the provisions invoked, applicability and the relevance of the provisions also, and what is the action proposed under the provision. Say for example, a penalty is levied, or goods are liable for confiscation. These are the actions generally proposed under a show cause notice, and you should be aware about what is the action proposed under such SC. Because when it comes to reply, you should be aware and you should be able to reply every part of the provisions. Check out the time limit for reply. As I said, time limit is important for reply. Comes to And when it comes to time limit, if, as I said, there is no such defined time limit under the act, so when it comes to time limit apply, generally it is 30 days for as a customary option, but you can ask for an additional time, you can ask for an extension. You should not apply generally on the first day, because say for example, you've seen few it's and chartered accountants applying for extension on the first day itself, that I have received show cause notice, please allow me another, we shall reply the same one after 60 days. You have to take time and then reply. Should not be in a hurry to ask for extension on the first day itself. Should be done at a later date. You have to explain the reasons for extension, and it has to be kept. Say for example, you reply to a show cause notice and an hearing is you ask for a hearing also. Can I do an additional submission during the hearing? Yes, you can do an additional submission in the hearing. We suggest that written submission should be made, considering that oral submissions sometimes have a gets paid, but a written submission always is kept on record, and you can get an acknowledgement with respect to additional submission. Can, say for example, the hearing is been done, you come across any additional submission that can be made, but the order is not yet issued, can I still make additional submissions? Yes, the law does not deny that submissions cannot be made after hearing. The submissions can be made after hearing also, but before the issuance of order. You should also look whether the provision for cross examination is also provided to you or not, because cross examination is applied rampantly, but it should be considered when it comes to cases such as non-payment of tax, agreed that I have fake billings. You have such cases where the transporter agrees that he has not supplied any, or he has not provided any goods, has not transported any goods. The other party has agreed that no tax payment has been done. The other party, people come out and these evidences are used against you. So you have a right to have a cross examination. Whether it is a vested right, no, but you should claim. Does it come automatically? No. You have to ask that, yes, I wish to have a right, or I wish to claim, or I wish to have a cross examination of the records or the evidences considered against me. So you have to, when it comes to cross examination, you also need to provide list, say for example, list of persons who you wish to have a cross examination, or a report which has been used against you to have a cross examination of the report. So generally it happens, department, generally the cross examination has to be, first you have to apply for cross examination. The application has to be accepted and allowed for cross examination. It's the department's responsibility to bring the person for cross examination. Whether such person, if it does not appear, or has or does not appear before the does not appear in hearing for cross examination, it loses its evidential value. Accordingly, you should consider that when it comes to reply to show cause notice, and accordingly reply and say that such evidence, such demand of taxes based on statements or statements issued by third party cannot be used against us, and no tax can be demanded. Can the cross examination be denied? Yes, that can be denied, but again they have to be, as I said, the denial has to be given in writing. I have not come across, but said as a matter of law, can they be denied? Yes, they can be denied, but you can again reply to the officer stating that a request has been provided for cross examination which was denied due to reasons best known, or probably to the reasons as mentioned in the denial order. with respect to cross examination and has to be kept. Remember this, we have few judgments such as Vasudev Garg versus Commissioner of Customs, Supreme Court, where they have said that if cross examination is not provided, it cannot be used as an evidence and cannot be made liable as evidence to tax the other person. You should always remember section 160, which is important, because section 160, as I said, it says that if a notice is bad in law, but if, as I said, I refer to section 162, that the service of any notice, order, communication shall not be called in question if the notice, order, communication, as the case may be, has already been acted upon by the person to whom it is issued, or where such service has not been called in question or not, or in the earlier proceeding commenced, continued or finalized pursuant to such notice, order, or communication. If you are part and you have acted upon such notice without denying or without challenging the jurisdiction of the notice, probably you cannot challenge it at a later date. Section 162 is against you, and at an appellate level or otherwise, that notice cannot be challenged. You should always remember this, because as I said, if SCN is a foundation base for allegations by department, your reply to show cause notice is your foundation as regards to reply and as regards to your counter arguments with respect to the allegations. Take a quick how to reply to show cause notice. Should, everybody has its own style of replying and making it available to the department, but as a protocol, what we do is basically we describe things wherein we say that a background of the assessee is provided. We always narrate and give the chronology of the events or the facts happened with the assessee. We also give the relevant facts which has been led to the issue of the show cause notice. We provide the exhibits with respect to the the background and the chronology of the events. We also provide what are the statutory provisions invoked in the show cause notice and what is the tax demanded or action proposed, and we give a small gist of the allegations made in the show cause notice. This is the part of the background and facts of the case. We have to, when it comes to grounds of defense, we have to give grounds on merit of the case. We have to give on the limitation part. We have to reply on the computation, and we have to give a defense with respect to challenge on the penal provisions of the actions proposed. So these are the important factors you need to remember when it comes to the show cause notice. People have views with respect to other things, whether you should include the judgment copies. Yes, judgments can be used, but we always suggest that judgments are, as we call it, as a secondary evidence. Your facts of the case are important. If your facts of the case are or similar to what has been discussed in the judgment can be provided. You can always argue first on the basis of facts. There may not be a judicial precedent, but you should always argue on the facts first and then on the judicial. And whenever you provide a judicial precedence, we always suggest to highlight the relevant para of the judgment, to consider that if to give ease to the officer to understand what needs to be considered or read when it comes to our reply to the show cause notice. Minor technical errors or lapses in the show cause notice should be ignored. That cannot be taken as a part of issue or challenging the show cause notice. We should always remember that if there are wrong provisions of the law, considering the discussion with respect to charge the tax, you should always challenge despite, as I said, with respect to previous discussions in the Supreme Court case of S.K. Palaniswamy, we should always remember that if you don't challenge, you cannot argue on that same ground at a later date. Because if once you have accepted that such provisions apply or you have not challenged such provisions in the first case, there could be a challenge when it comes to at a later date when you try to challenge or argue with respect to the basic ground that such provisions do not. First, as I said, I just wanted to give a brief summary of the show cause notice. You know what we have as a procedure wise, we have a summary of show cause notice issued in DRC 01, statement of demand under section 73.3 or 74.3 in DRC 02. If a tax is to be paid, it is to be paid in DRC 03. If the department officer accepts it, it issues a DRC 04. The acknowledgement of such payment of tax is in DRC 04. If the proceedings are to be concluded, it is issued in DRC 05. If you wish to reply to show cause notice or represent, it is in DRC 06. A summary of the order is issued in DRC 07. And if there is a rectification or withdrawal of order to be made, it is made in DRC. Yes, probably I am before time. Now we can discuss if you have questions.
Yes, we are on time, I guess. We will take the question, sir. Nishan, sir,
Yes, we can take
the questions. Participants are requested to drop the questions. So the first question is, what if state has not issued any I think you have answered this. In many cases, multiple officers issue show cause notices for different issues for the same tax period. The assessee is harassed by each officer. In such cases, can we challenge the second and subsequent show cause notices on the ground that the first show cause notice did not cover the issues raised subsequently? Does any provision case law protect taxpayers from repetitive harassments?
understand that this is issue on difference for same tax period. We need to see that what is the provision applied. Say section 61 can be different, but say for example an audit is being conducted, probably the show cause notice under this for the same tax period should not be issued and should be challenged in the first place itself. To argue that an audit is being conducted and such show cause notice is bad in law or should be challenged. If you accept, as I said in section 162, if you accept and move ahead, the same cannot be challenged at a later.
Okay. Now, with respect to show cause notices, show cause notice litigation aspect, third party information also includes complaint for initiating show cause notice.
See, when a third party statement has to also be included as a cross statement. A statement and a complaint are two different things. Complaint can be of no use, as I said. Everyone has to be heard. A complaint cannot be considered as a statement.
Okay. Any case law for cross examination denied by authority?
Cross examination, as I said, as such, but you can always argue that a person cannot be proved to the contrary. You can always argue to say that if I am not able to identify or can I, if I am not able to understand what the statement was, or I cannot ask why the statement was made, it cannot be replied as such. You cannot answer to something which you are not aware of. You cannot reply per se when it comes to show cause notice. And if such denial has been made, you should say that without prejudice, you have to argue in the show cause notice saying that if such basis on the denial, we cannot provide any reply with respect to such cannot reply with respect to such allegations or additions made, and no tax should be demanded in absence of any cross examinations.
Okay. did not mandatory to state notices which are issued by the State Department, I guess. What is the remedy to it?
I mean, the law does not provide, so there is no
Correct.
remedy as
So
such.
there is no mandatory, it is not mandatory. Sir, we also saw a lot of times people get show cause notice. As you said, we can file a reply, take some time. And but once we submit all the documents, it is seen that department doesn't reply for months or maybe in some cases for year, more than a year. So, what is the timeline for the department to reply to or issue order in original?
The law provides for us. Section
Pardon?
70, Section 73 and 74 provides. No, sorry, Section
Okay.
75. Section 75
Okay.
provides that an order has to be made within a prescribed period. So,
Okay.
the earlier laws didn't have that provision, but the VAT laws, as I said, have always had lines with respect to closure of the assessment or show cause notices. Such provisions have been considered. Section 75 provides that such assessments or such notices, there are timelines with respect to closure,
Okay.
reply, the order to be made.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. And I extend my gratitude on behalf of CGPI to sir and to have taken out time and accepted our invitation to grace the event. And in the end, I must thank all the participant and the organizing team for their active participation in the seminar. And thank you so much, sir. And PPT will be shared to you in groups or through mail IDs, whatever possible way. Thank you so much. I think there is one question, Nishan sir, can we take it?
Yes, 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 you can take it.
In a case where CGST and GST was paid instead of IGST and subsequently IGST was paid and refund applied, DC rejected based on section 54 instead of section 77 as per SSC's appeal. Now that the recent circular allows the SSC to claim refund if applied before 2 years of September 2021, is it necessary to go on appeal with JC or it can be taken up to DC refunds for reversing the order? What is the time limit? I think this question is not in line with the today's topic.
For references, I would suggest you can check for section 108.
Okay.
That powers with the officers for a revisional authority. I believe you need to check whether revisional authority has been appointed. I don't
Okay.
recall the
One more.
revisional authority has been appointed under the
Okay.
GST provisions, but the law provides that revisional authority can or you can call for what we call as the rectification of order. Section 161 from GST, the officer can do it under DRC 08 also.
Okay. So one more question, whether ITC can be claimed of RCM liability paid post issuance of department audit observation letter, but before issuance of show cause notice. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Should I repeat?
No, I mean I said that ITC can be claimed, but could be challenged by the officer under
Okay.
section 16(4) or otherwise applies it to it. But I
Yes, sir.
believe it should be allowed.
If it's in, okay, sir.
It's a matter of section 73. There is no willful intent to evade the tax, because if the credit is available, it's in revenue neutral situation, and there should not be denial of such credit.
I think all questions has been answered. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the time. Thank you.